always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. To receive instant. Hello. That was the cutest thing on the planet. It was like, ooh, are we here? Oh, what happened? Are we here? Yes, we are here. And we are so happy, happy, happy to be with you. What you guys are going to see tonight is just a little bit of a little difference. And the difference is going to be I'm here, but I'm really not going to be here, but I'm here. Hello, Melinda Ann. Hello, Kathy. And it looks like Faz Sakia Days. Hello to you. You're going to actually see, and let me introduce my sister, Karim or KK Harris. Namaste, KK Harris. My sister is a unbelievable woman. She is now working on her master's degree, but in tandem with that, she is an author of a couple of books. She has actually helped to facilitate authoring of other books by family members, to include our youngest sister. And she's also a coach for diversity. She is a life coach. She is a lot of things. She is in the UK. And this evening, we are blessed to have her here. And she is actually going to be interviewing me. So there's a scripture that says to know those that labor among you. And that is the purpose of this. We, as you all know, last week, we just hit a milestone with the channel. And I was so gracious of you all. I'm just graciously, I'm happy and I'm humbled by the blessing that you all have deposited in my life. With that said, the next week or so, especially this week, we're going to introduce me to you. And it's from a different perspective. It's from a perspective of my sister, but she's a heck of an interviewer. And so I have allowed myself to be opened to her. And I'm going to sit back and she's going to ask a few questions and you guys will get to know a little bit more about me. But first of all, I want to say paralysis by analysis. Hello. I've greeted everybody else that showed up and I'm just happy that you're here. Let me introduce to some of you. And then say hello, I guess, to those of you who know her, my sister. I love you, sis, and I thank you for being here. This is KK Harris.
Hi, sis. I want to just say hello to people that you've already said hello, Kathy and Faze and Melinda and Paralysis by Analysis, and just whoever is going to show up here and after and everything. This is such a wonderful opportunity to be here, sis. Obviously, Felicia is my sister, true and true. Blood, we got the same blood. I know a lot of stuff. but this is something that I felt was necessary because my sister has had, one heck of a journey. And I kind of said before, we had a bit of estrangement for some years back, but sisterhood always comes back, and there's something wonderful about as you get older, you put aside that childish behavior. I see Black Spring just joined us, and she's saying hello, nice to see you. I'm a fan. Okay. Like I said, Felicia has gone through some things in her life that is really, I say, that has brought her to this place. And I want to say that I'm super proud of her for what she has done on this channel and how her consistency has brought her to this place of only a couple of months ago, calling me and saying that, the numbers weren't getting to where she wanted it to go. And she was trying to figure out what to do. How could we get there faster? And I was at a loss. And to know me is with everything that I do is I always got to answer for something, but I didn't. And but I tell you, God is much greater. God is much greater. So I've got some questions that I'm going to be asking my sister. And we talked and I said, what, is there anything off limits? You know? And she said, no, ask whatever you want to ask and talk about whatever you want to talk about. So I think one of the things I wanted to really kind of go in deep. There's so much I wanted to talk about though, because Felicia has shared so a lot some of the pain, you know what I mean, some of the pain that she has gone through here on her channel. She has thousands of views on when she discussed the child sexual abuse that she went through, that obviously I was privy to, being a child, uh, with her, knowing what was going on, and for her to share that has been absolutely remarkable. And I have seen through the chat how people have been really moved by that. Um, okay, Melinda's going to stay as long as she can, she said, while the internet holds out. But anyway, my sister has shared how she had Bell's palsy, right? But the thing with Felicia is that I wanted to get a little bit deeper than that. I want to take us to that time. So, Felicia, I want to ask you. I want to ask you, and what was that like? What year was that changed your life?
Was Tuesday, June the 6th, 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday, June the 6th, 2006. Um, we said in a previous show, a previous pre-recorded show that you guys will see here in the next couple of days, that yeah, it was early in the morning when I woke up, and a little bit after 6 a.m. And it was just one of those things where I I'd never experienced it, and I heard all this stuff about how, it's not going to last long. It comes, and you'll be okay. It'll go away, and all this other stuff. And I'm still now, all these years later, waiting for the when,
Right.
waiting for when it would go away. And so I think, what we were talking about earlier in the previous recording, that is on, some of the stuff that you've got going on. Uh, I don't understand even now today how people are saying what some are experiencing because of the vaccine that they've taken into their body, that,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be temporary. And so I would just say that I would just caution people that, this is not always temporary. So, and it doesn't, and it's not just about the face drooping. It's about what it does to your self-esteem. It's about what it does to the rest of your body. It's about the source, why you have that issue. There are a bevy of things that it could be. And so I just want to say, there's herbs, that there is a few other diseases, Guillain-Barré, a few other things that happen that can cause the seventh cranial nerve
Mm-hmm.
to collapse. And they did a great deal of looking and checking to see what it was. But with that said, yes, it took the wind out of my sail, having performed professionally in
Yeah.
music and radio and all that good stuff. Yeah, it did.
So we're talking about 2006. We're talking about, you know, you told me earlier, my niece, she was there with you. You had just sang the week before
Mm-hmm.
at the church. You also talked about the self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
How have you, let's talk about those first couple years, that first month. What was that like? I mean, I think this is important. What was that like?
Uh,
Your self-esteem. You were just singing a month before. I mean, a week before.
Only 2 days before, because that was a Tuesday morning. I remember as if it were yesterday. I had just ministered at church on that Sunday. And so, and was still working on the CD that I had done back then, that we were still circulating and getting that thing to go out. I was supposed to go and minister at Crenshaw Christian Center for a big, giant event, because, as you know, I had worked there in the ministry for many years and had done some things for Dr. Betty Price at that time. And that coming week, I was due, had a plane ticket and everything. I was due to go there, or a very large celebration where they had brought in a lot of psalmists like myself and others to come and minister. So um, to be able to send back to a message back to the congregation, especially those who were in leadership, to say, hey, uh, my face is paralyzed and I won't be able to come. Even after I had recorded the song, there was a song we were singing that had been recorded in Dr. Price's or Apostle Price's honor at that time. It didn't matter. Thank goodness I had already recorded it. But yeah, it took a lot. Took a lot. It took a lot. The self esteem piece, yeah, it did.
What support did you get from the church?
Well, there really was not a lot of support that I was anticipating because I was no longer in California. My whole visit back to the church at that time was basically a panel of us who had ministered because it was a celebratory celebration there for him. So it wasn't as if they were still indebted to me. As you know, I had then, because we had been a part of that ministry since 76, 75, 76. For me, it was letter A, had been there all those years, had worked with the faith messengers, had recorded their Christmas CD, had a great love and still do an admiration for, Doctors Fred and Betty Price. It was more of those of us who had left and moved away, who they wanted to bring in. They were flying us in. Certain parts of the ministry had paid for my ticket, whether it was, a member of the actual staff or a member of, whomever it was that sent for me. Their money was flushed because I couldn't show up. But and then again, you remember, even after being at Dr. Price, we had left there with my former husband, and we were then up under who was my she was I'm not sure if you had her or not, but I know that she was my Sunday school teacher, and that was Dr. Bam. Yeah. So I sat under Bam before leaving, California. And that's where my prophetic sharpening came in, where I had always had the prophetic gift, even as a little girl, always as a child. It got sharper there. And then I saw why, because as soon as we left there, I left California and went into Georgia. Everything needed to be even more heightened, and I could feel that there. But my point is, I did not expect them to do much because I was no longer a part of the ministry. It was more of me going back after that happened to my face, but I was already scheduled to go there. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. I'm just curious, though. I'm just curious because we didn't talk about this in the recording.
Right.
I'm just curious. You've done so much for the church. You have been such a voice to the church. So at that time, you leave a message that your face is paralyzed, you can't come in. So what I guess I'm asking is, who from the congregation then interceded for you, as to use that word? Who was on the other end of the phone? Were you being supported?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Both doctors Fred and Betty have always been supportive of those who minister with them. Always. And at this particular time, Dr. Fred and Betty did not even know that I was due to come because my appearance was a surprise.
Right.
So the person who had already taken care of me getting there, of course, yes, they of course embraced me or whatnot. But I want to say that, hello, Cold Game Susie, how are you? Here's what I want to say. I want to say that the way, and I know this is you interviewing me, but I think I really want to hone in on this piece for such a time as this.
Okay.
That the whole piece dealing with this Bell's palsy is that it is viral.
Okay.
This is a viral infection that causes this to happen to the seventh cranial nerve. If you had chicken pox and it goes dormant, they say that it can come back and it can come like this.
Okay.
So where I want to go with this as it relates to my channel and where we've been going just as a sidebar is, be cognizant, folks out there, when you're hearing people tell you that this is just a side effect from an inoculation. Keep in mind that there is one other disease, and several others, but one major one that can cause this. So
Mm-hmm.
the Bell's palsy is just the slumping of the face.
So what it?
The slumping of the face, it could be Guillain-Barré. What, I don't know what these people have. So what I'm saying is there could be a bevy of things that these folks have got, and they're telling everybody, oh, it's just Bell's palsy. No, sir. There is Lyme disease that they test you for when this happens. They test you for Lyme disease. They test you for oh gee whiz, there's another one that's a really not Erb's palsy. It's another palsy, but it is even creepier than this because it lasts even longer, which is what I thought this possibly was at one point because of how it just exacerbates the whole nervous system. And so when people are considering when people are considering what they're hearing about getting this right now, and then people are popping up with this, it's a whole lot deeper than what people are thinking. Please, you guys, don't just escape it. Don't just think that it's just the Bell's palsy. It's
Right.
not just this. It's something else that's causing these people to have that, and
Yeah.
that means that there's something that has been placed into the body that would actually attack that seventh cranial nerve.
Now
Does that
that
make
I've never heard you break it down like that. Is that some new information that you've gleaned, or you're just sharing it? You just
no?
wanted to share that.
As it relates to me specifically, or with the knowledge of Bell's palsy, with the
Both.
knowledge. Well, okay, so recently, what we have all heard is that a lot of people got sick. Hello, Hazel Brown. A lot of people, after they got their inoculations, ended up with Bell's palsy. So people say, "Oh, it's just Bell's
Can
palsy."
I interrupt you?
Sure.
What are you talking? What inoculations? What
Well,
time frame?
we're not going to say it on this channel because we don't want any issues.
Okay.
Because now that the channel has gone in a different direction, hello, Headlines with a Voice. Now that the channel has gone into a different direction, we certainly don't want to jeopardize anything. So when I say this current inoculation, you just got to do the math, okay? We call it the candy bar here. This is my sister. For those of you, this is my sister KK Harris. You guys, she is interviewing me, and right now, what we're talking about is the whole piece of the Bell's palsy. How did it happen? When did it happen? All of that stuff. Hey, lady. And so also what we're talking about with more specifically right now, and there's your niece up there, Cold Game Susie.
I said.
And what we're talking about more specifically is the fact that now that people are coming up with this, with the most recent inoculation, that I'm saying that it is not just Bell's palsy, because the seventh cranial nerve being collapsed, which is located behind this ear, okay, there is a 7-day incubation period before this actually happens to your face. Okay, so there's 7 to 10 day incubation period.
I hear you.
So since there's a 7 to 10 day incubation period before the face actually collapses, if you're telling me somebody just got the wizard wham wham, okay, they just got that, and now the next day or the day after, bingo bango, this happens. I'm saying that that's not what they got. They got something that collapsed that nerve, certainly, but it is not Bell's palsy. And I will say this, that anything that is not bona fide Bell's palsy that does that to the face, that does that to that seventh cranial nerve, is hell. That, whatever that is, that ain't moving away really quickly. Right. Whatever that is, that ain't going away real fast. I am a very rare case of Bell's palsy, which is why I'm a very rare case of Bell's palsy, which is why my doctors and I struggled with tug of war for so long, because I'm saying, hey, no, look, you forgot to look at this. Hey, no, look, you forgot Ramsay's Hunt. Now, Ramsay's Hunt causes a lot of the other stuff that I've had in my life. And so I'm trying to say, what do they have? Because I know that A, it doesn't necessarily have to be temporary. And then B, I know that a lot of the things that are going on, it could not have been just that quick. because there is that incubation period there, and
Mm.
your face will, okay, so days before this happened, right, my face got really really big. Last
Yeah.
week while I was under stress about 2 weeks ago, my face got really 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 large because when I'm stressed these things happen. So there are certain things that'll happen in my body that let me know, oh, it's time to use an avatar. Oh, it's time to do this or that. You know what I'm saying? Or it's time to get more rest, or it's time to pull off or staying up so late, recording or whatever. So I'm just praying for the people who are now coming up with this new Bell's palsy after getting the inoculation. Let's read here. Headlines with the Voice says, word is several frontline workers in Chicago suffered, oh my God, anaphylactic shock. You see?
Oh, can, can I concur here in the
Yeah.
UK? I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you guys know that. I think she said it. I'm here in the UK. I live in London. Well, I'm just outside of London, 30 minutes drive or whatever, outside of London. We had the first injections, whatever, however many days ago. They have now given the inoculation of 350,000 by
Wow.
Pfizer, 350,000, and they're looking to have 1 million. But within the first few hours, two of the frontline workers, nurses, had an anaphylactic reaction. That means that heart dropped down. They had to give them some injections to get these women back. And then it was all on the news. Oh, they should, for people that have any type of allergic reactions or known allergic reactions to any injection, they should stay clear. Now, you gonna tell us that now, after the fact? Okay, but we never tested for that. They admitted. They said no, we never tested for people with those type of issues, allergic reactions. We never
Mm-hmm.
tested women that are pregnant. We never tested children. We never, but yet you want my 16-year-old to get in the queue.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Very
Mm-hmm.
interesting times right
They're
now.
testing now, though. They're testing now. This is nothing but a test. This whole thing is a test. So,
Mm-hmm.
if everybody is wondering how we can fast track something that would normally take 5 to 7 years or whatnot, this is that. This is the test. So, we're going to see what happens with this one. Oh, you see what happened with that one? Okay, scrap this one and bring in another one. Okay, now try yours. Let's see what happens. Up, 35 people did it. Okay, that's not as many as last time. Let's put them on the shelf. They'll work it out. Hey, David Harris, excuse me. So, that's the whole point. Now, here's the deal. A lot of people are saying, well, hey, don't worry about it. Just take it and it's going to be okay. I got people that I know that are saying that. I'll just take the money and I'll just be okay. Let's see. Headlines with the Voice says UK health advisors have recommended that all facilities administering the shot should be equipped with resuscitation equipment. Did you know that?
Um, it's coming. Yes, it's all out there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, and also because what is happening is, and the way they say that recommended all facilities administering the shot is because it's not done necessarily at the hospital. So these are
Oh.
at centers. There was even talk of training non-medical people to give the inoculations as well here. So that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in the military to also help with inoculation as well. So we've got a lot of military doing the inoculations. Um, it's very interesting. It's very interesting times right now. There are also some of the airlines are refusing us travel with if we don't have proof that we've taken it.
Hmm.
Uh, so we are, because we're the first country that has something that's successful. So we're hearing all of this stuff. We've just gone into a full lockdown. I don't know if you've heard, you might have heard, but we've also gone into there was never a tier 4. As of today, there's a tier 4. It's just basically another full lockdown to London and the southeast. Now I'm southwest.
Hmm.
We're staying in tier 2, so we can still go into the restaurants. But we got to be masked and blah blah blah.
Hmm.
But they are telling everyone to stay home, do not leave.
Hmm.
And people are very, very compliant, but we have a lot of people that are not compliant right now. And so I'm really very, very much concerned about what's going to go on in London. Today it's Sunday. It's 2:40 in the morning here. I'm going to be seeing, paying attention to what's going on. Um, it's very, very interesting. And we, like I said, we have a lot of people. Traditionally, the English are very compliant people. They trust in the government, but we have a new generation of people who don't. So they're literally corralling people on the street. They dragged a woman, a 60-something-year-old woman, and it's on video. I don't know if I sent it to you, dragging her. And one of our MPs saw it, and it was caught, and he was angry. And he was like, "What are you doing? This is an old lady. What is wrong with you?" He went right into the Houses of Parliament, and that made the news. But it's not making the news. There's a lot of things that's being hidden from us, and I have to admit it. It's just, it is what it is. I know we've gone a little bit on one, but we have recorded some, really a deeper, fuller thing here. But I do want to carry on with that. But I also want to share a bit of who you are, if we could.
Yes, and I just want to pause for just a second because we do have a lot of folks that are coming in, and one thing I do like to do, as you know, is I do like to recognize those folks who are bold enough to say something in the chat. And so I see Derek C. Williams is here. Thank you so much for being here. And then I have, yes, DI557, Diane Briston. Hello. Thank you so much for being here. Black Spring with Autumn, of course. We've said hello. Doug Cooper, how are you? And my friend from down under, Mr. David Harris. Ron Roman, hello, kind sir. We are so happy to see you this evening. We are very happy that you are here. Everyone else that we've already spoken to in the chat, you are appreciated, and we thank you so much for being here. Hazel Brown, not sure if I got a chance to say hello. I think I did. But Steve Willis, how are you this evening, kind sir? Thank you for joining me. We are joined this evening by my sister, KK Harris. She is here and she is interviewing me so that you guys can get to know a little bit more about me. We're talking right now specifically about the piece with me having had Bell's palsy since June the 6th, 2006, 6:03 a.m. in the morning is when I woke up with it. So with that said, so we're talking about that, and we're also talking about how it relates to what's going on right now and how they're telling people that, hey, you know what, this is Bell's palsy that these folks have gotten. I share it with her just to catch everybody up that, for me, it was a 7 to 10 day incubation period, as I was this was explained to me by my physician way back then, that there was a incubation period. And with that incubation period, after it set in, then I saw this. So I just thought it was amazing that people were just getting this shot or inoculation and then turning right around and having this as an issue. So with that said, we're going to keep you guys energized and entertained this evening, but I'm going to go ahead and let Karime, KK, finish doing her thing. Go ahead. And I'm allowing myself, you guys, to just be the pin cushion. So if I start crying, I got some tissue and stuff.
Oh, right. One of the things that I have admired about you, and I think I said it earlier, was how you've been willing to show something, tell about the sexual abuse that you went through as a child. We both went through some heavy stuff, and but it was so inspirational. It opened a wound for me too when you decided to share that on your YouTube channel. It brought the stuff back up. It brought the pain that I know you went through back up, and that I've never told you how that has always broken my heart. The depth of what you went through, I reflect back on that, and I remember so much and then so little. What made you decide to come on your platform? Because not only did you talk about the childhood sexual abuse, but then you found our uncle, and then you exposed that. How did you come to that transparency? What made you do it? to be so transparent. And it wasn't like you are today. This was, I mean, and part of the, what to talk, tell us.
When I told you yes, there was nothing off limits, I should have had a couple of limits.
I'm sorry. You said,
No,
well,
it's okay. It's okay. Um, I think that I think what set it off for me was the fact that it was a when I first talked about it on the platform. um I think I had like maybe 20 people or maybe 10 or 15 people following, and it was more cathartic than anything for me to just come out and have this channel, and I just decided that I would use the channel. I think that's where it started, that I would use the channel to heal from some of the stuff that I had experienced in my life. That I would use the channel to talk to people just like I was sitting, in the car with them, or, you know, uh, to tell them about the things that I had experienced and juxtapose that to what was going on to all of the poor children who were being abducted, who were being taken, who were on the back of milk cartons. Um, but I wanted to let everybody know that there was a lot of that darkness that was going on in black churches with their family members. Um,
mm-hmm,
People who you look at, that you think really got it going on as a pastor or a minister of music in the church or something like that. And this person is really, truly, and honestly um, a terrible beast.
mm-hmm,
You don't know that this person is doing these things to the children that are around them. You don't know that this person is beating the children or, sexually assaulting them. And so what I just finally got tired of one day was, you know what, that's it. uh, I'm going to tell the truth about what's happening in the black family and in the black church that people don't know what they're hiding. Because see, there's a lot of churches and there's a lot of people who don't tell the story. What they just tell you to do is don't go sit on Uncle such and such lap. Don't go over this person's house, or don't do this or don't do that. And you never really know why until you make that mistake of trusting that relative and you end up at their house. And so, with regards to all of the young children who people were saying were, um, ooh, all the children that people were saying were just runaways or were just troubled or just this or just that. That type of trash really affected me in such a way where I struggled with relationships across the board, just even trusting friends, just even having a friend, not necessarily, I thank God that my naivete stayed intact as long as it did, because I was still dingy, and I'm glad I was, 21, 20, I was
yeah,
still trusting and believing people. And then it was after that that I've always had that outgoing, vivacious personality. But I think even you and I know that that's just who I always was. Um, I could always peep people out, and I thought I was weird because I could always go into a room and I could feel if somebody had died. I could always go into a room and tell you that somebody was coming, or I could always go here or there and I could tell you what was about to happen. Well, I had no idea that those were my prophetic gifts
mm-hmm,
working when I was a little girl. But
mm-hmm,
having been raped, molested, beat up by adults who our mother trusted me with, and then
mm-hmm,
having those gifts as well was absolutely horrifying as a child, because I could tell and I could see and I knew different things that was so um I was bold
and
to
you know,
tell. I was
mm-hmm,
bold to tell because I felt like a lot of people don't tell. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't tell. A lot of people don't talk about it. A lot of people sort of keep it to themselves. Hey, I'm live right now. I'm live right now.
this is
I'm
live.
live. I'm live. So um, it's one of my kids
A lot of people
blowing a
don't
kiss to me, blowing a kiss to me. walked in
Right.
the house and was going to kiss would talk and got headphones in their ears. But anyway, I digress. So I think that the problem for me was that I just got tired of hearing all of the stuff that was going on, and it was all associated with churches, all associated with Black people. And for the longest time, the Black church had always been this place where we would go for solace. A lot of times we equated, as the Black race, as the Black culture, we equated church was a place, for a place of safety. But that was the tipping for me. It was like the tipping of the scale for me, because it came on the end of me asking the Most High to show me who He was, because I had started to see some other things from people in the church that just didn't line up. And then it just drugged that situation from me, because if you remember, he played the keyboards. He was, this writer. He sang as well as did a whole lot of other stuff. He was a chameleon, our uncle was, because
Mm.
that was the safest way for him to lure people in. So he had to be something from everything. He had to be somebody from everywhere. And so I just got tired of seeing what was going on in the church. I got tired of seeing the Black families not get them dogs and throw them dogs away. And it
And
just
when you
began to
showed
make me
up,
angry.
and I'm gonna tell you what you gave to me. I woke up, the time difference, I'll catch you later on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in my bed and I was like, yes, yes, get him, sis. Because that is the sister that I knew, that my sister was, we were taught to stand for each other. But this one here, she stood for my little silly self. She stood for me. You were trying to protect us while you were going through what you was going through. You were trying to protect us when he locked us out of that house, that one uncle, while he did what he did to you. You were protecting us. And I never forget that. And I knew what was happening in the house. As a 4-year-old, five, and not even knowing the words, knowing that was what was happening was wrong, and it was wrong, and our voices were silenced, and we could say nothing to anyone because the perpetrator told us he would hurt you, would hurt us. And we had to hold on to that lie and that deceit and that dirt for so long. And I saw you be in pain for so many years. That anger, because see, you held it down. You, like you say, you blocked it out. You blocked it out. There were periods where we talked and you said, I didn't even remember that. And you blocked it out. And I knew where that anger was from.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I could never be mad at you, sis.
Mm-hmm.
All of them years, I was like, no. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know what she has been through. Y'all don't know what her pain has been. And so when you did that, when you showed up on your platform, now I'm bold. I'm in that diversity, in that corporate space. I rock an afro around these white people in a heartbeat. I ain't gonna cross the white that white. But I'm just saying, I'm bold. But your boldness, that display of boldness, of transparency, and you cut the chain, you smashed it. It was like you said no more. It's gonna hold me down. And here we are today. This is for me, what I see, sis, I see freedom. And I know you felt it.
Yeah.
And I see freedom, and those that are here that are on this journey, especially her mods, Derek, Chef Disaster, Black Spring with Autumn, y'all seeing the result of the freedom you have chosen. You said no more. And it's a beautiful thing, sis. And I'm just proud of you, but dang it, it was not right. And I'm so proud that you know what? I saw so many people in the chat so happy that you put it on blast. Did you expect people to appreciate what you had done like they have been showing you that appreciation? Because that was something like 10,000 views on one of them videos.
You know what the funny thing is that when I did it, it was so healing to me after I did it. I didn't think nobody was going to see it because I only had, like I say, 10, 15, 20 people that was on the channel at that time. And for whatever reason, I know that it just started going, and I began to cry and weep with some of the people who would make responses to it, right? Both
Mm,
male and female, females, but males. And
mm,
that to me, I felt as if I was right then. I felt like having said what I said and having told the story, I felt like that. I felt like, you know what, whatever embarrassment it caused, or I felt for saying it, hearing the people's responses to watching me say what I had experienced and
mm.
how it was freeing them, then I was okay. I felt like it's all good. I took one and told the truth here in this forum as a grown woman, but it freed somebody else.
Yes.
And they were able to see the video and then say it. And that now, when I look at it, I feel like it's okay that I put myself out there. But honestly, I didn't expect for it to get that many people watching it. And I didn't expect for it to get that type of response. But I'm glad to see when people come on, I'm glad to see them say, hey, this happened to me. I never told anybody, but because of you talking about it, it makes me feel like I can tell somebody now. You know
Mhm.
what
The
I'm saying?
truth will set you
Um,
free.
yeah, okay. And then another thing is that I think that seeing those people that have been hurting, like I have been hurting, say, hey, because you spoke up, I feel good about it now, and I'm healing. Then when I found that joker,
How did you? I gotta stop you. I gotta ask you. How did you find? I don't even. I can't even call him an uncle. How did you find him?
um, there was another content creator who had put a challenge out there, and that was Headlines with a Voice had put out a video, and I was like, you know what? I see this video that she's put out here. I'm not about to let her just go out here and talk about this situation. You know, it was a video that dealt with these veterans who are literally on the front line of trafficking. And she showed this video, and I said, you know what? Let me share with her. Let me get and link arms with her. And then whomever else wants to pick up the gauntlet can run too. So, what I had done was I began to share the video. And then, as I was copying the video down on Mobizen, I said, wait a minute. I wonder if I can find this joker. I wonder if I can find this cat. That's what I said. Couldn't find him, but I kept digging and kept digging and kept digging. I called our mother's sister. She had
Okay.
given me his name sometime beforehand, but I couldn't find him. So I dug back in the tablet where I had written his name down because he had all these different aliases that we knew when we were growing up, right?
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
went, I typed in the name. I remember the last city and state, and for whatever reason, it was open and available.
Mm,
Before it was shrouded, I couldn't find him.
mm,
And bingo, not only was it his face, but it was his entire rap sheet there in Florida.
mm,
And it was exactly what he had done all those years before.
mm, mm.
And it was a long laundry list of stuff that he had done, all in the same vein of what we experienced as children. And I just said, you know what? Here's the dog right here. Here
Mm.
go the dog. Here he is right here. This is his face. This is him. And
And he,
this is what he did. Let me say this. Being silent or feeling as if you shouldn't speak about that or talk about it, to me now, as I look as an adult, I feel like I am complicit in what they did to me if I don't tell that, no, you the dog, you the one that did it. No, it was you. I seen you. It was you.
mhm,
You did it. You did do it. So no, I believe that I'm supposed to say it. I'm
mhm.
supposed to tell it because if I don't tell it, then that means you think I'm cool with it. And it's a secret that we keeping. But no, player, we ain't keeping no secret because you messed me up on so many different fronts.
Right.
on so many different fronts, and
I
people
know.
don't get it. People that are, people who are perpetrating this crap, especially the lawmakers. Whenever I see lawmakers sort of lower the age of, consent, lower the age of, marriage, or lower the age of this, change the phrase or the name of this incident from not being, rape. Let's change it to sexual assault, or let's just change it to assault. No, call it what it is. Y'all are dogs. And you guys are
Right.
in a network, because he was a part of a network, which is the reason why he got away with it so long. I really feel in my gut. But y'all dogs. Y'all are
Yeah.
dogs. And you're doing this to children. And now here's what makes me even angrier, is because I have
Okay.
seen so many different people not see what is happening when, like in California, they now go ahead and change it and say, okay, we're going to change the age of consent. If you're having this situation with a young boy, he can be this age and then this. Just the fact that y'all are sitting up here moving these numbers around and changing all of this stuff, trying to mind screw people, tells me that none of y'all are no good.
Yeah.
All of y'all are dogs. All of y'all got some demonic stuff going on. So I will say this, that in this last administration, the rumors that I heard, and I really can't even call it rumor because it did come out of his mouth, that I will say the one good thing that I did like was the fact that even the now outgoing president, according to what's going on, one thing he did do was he did stand up for those children when he brought that one ship into California. And he did have a press conference. Out of his mouth, he said these children were, molested or raped, or, all these people here were from assault or whatnot. He did go in and make sure that he did something. Maybe not as much as, people would have wanted to see, but the fact that he did something. If I can't say anything positive about, the things that he's done as a whole, he did something to help stave off as best he could, because this is a terrible, terrible racket. And this racket is the real reason why, prior to all of this stuff happening right now, they were fighting him, I believe. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm on a tangent. Go along with your question.
We were both there. This is, Kathy in the chat says she's God's miracle. She's got a miracle. I think he's a doubt in my mind. I'd like to do like this lady so much. She reminds me of my grandma a little bit, her singing thing. I think, and Doug says, Felicia, you're beautiful, and KK, you're beautiful. Thank you so much as well. And I'd marry both of you, but I'm waiting to go home. Come Jesus, so you're sweet. That's very sweet. That's very sweet.
Okay, okay.
I wanna stay with that. I want to stay with that because I think it's important for people to, kind of a little bit touched on it about the effects, the long-term effects, because you said it was many. What you right? So from your own words, what would the long-term effects of that the sexual assault had on your life?
Okay, the first thing that just comes right out of my mind is not being able to trust people. Always side-eyeing, men. But the creepy part is you got the audacity to side-eye, brother. Then all you seem to date is bad cats. Bad cats. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're side-eyeing, but you're taking the wrong ones. And so it's like, because there's a level of manipulation of that goes on when you're a little kid, and this is an adult that's done this to you, there is a level of naivete where you're trusting, and then as you get older, it sort of warps who you are, because this person's playing on you in your mind. And now when you're starting to date people, you are, whether you know it or not, you're still attracted to that silver-tongued person. See, most of these cats are silver-tongued. R. Kelly didn't just fall off the turnip truck. He can't read. So he had to use, his words, right? So they're silver-tongued. And so when you grow up and you had that, and even though that was wrong, because it happened, and that has been part of the foundation that's been laid, for you. That's part of your learning. See,
Yeah.
people don't understand that. That is, you have learned a portion of this thing. So
And I would
now
also,
when you go ahead.
because what you're, my background is psychoanalysis. Other than the music business, blah 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 blah. My recent is psychoanalysis, psychology. I'll be a coaching psychologist next year. But one of the things when we're talking about, say, even on that level of the psyche, right? So what winds up happening is that there's an introjection from these individuals, and we at this very young age have no determining ability on an unconscious level of what is right and wrong, what is the touching is wrong, although we're made uncomfortable, and it's in all of that other stuff. This stuff is being introjected. The devil's busy, right, as they say, right, making sure all of that is introjected inside of you. And you're thinking, why do I choose these particular people that have that silver tongue? It's because it's been introjected into you, and it lays in the unconscious. And now here's the deep bit. I say when I do my talks, the unconscious is, it's there, but you have no key. So anything that sounds familiar on a physical level, see, sound is reverberating inside of the bone, the tissue, right? Anything that's sounding, everything, you don't know that it's him. That voice reminds you of something. It can be a tone of voice.
Yeah.
It can be a something. And you have no understanding, why am I being guided to that, until it's too late. And then you find yourself in a relationship that is not in alignment with who you truly are and truly want to be. And you can't figure it out. It's very, very deep. It's very deep, and it's wonderful when you have that understanding, Felicia, of, okay, now I see it. And for me, it sounds like that transparency, that saying, I am going to tell the world, I'm going to let everybody know the dog. And you never did it, sis. Over the years, this isn't something that my sister was willing to share and discuss. You see, that was not what she was willing to share. And if she probably did share it to friends, it was very select, I can only imagine, right? Because I know for a fact there were certain things that was never even discussed between me and you, right? And so to make this big show of, I'm going to be released from this on your channel, so powerful, so transformative. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of it. And I say that because I know your journey.
Well, I appreciate that. And then, the funny thing is that I did not know that you were even in the room at one point. And I have you muted because I'm hearing a little bit of feedback. But I didn't even know that you were in the room until I was much older. And we finally had that conversation. Like you say, we never talked about it. We finally had a conversation, and I'm not sure if we were in our 30s or in our 20s. I think it was maybe our late 20s when we finally talked about it, 30s or whatnot. And so when we finally got a chance to talk about it, you were like, you don't remember I was in the room? And then when you said it, I began to cry because I remembered what he said, that he would kill you and that he would kill our sibling if I didn't allow X, Y, or Z. And so that is why I began to cry, because at that moment, it dawned on me. I was in the room. I was there.
Yeah. You had blacked it out. You had blacked it out.
And so this is why I say that people do not understand the depths of what happens to a child when you do something like this to a child. And so right now, where I am today is I am going to, before this whole thing happened here, I was doing conferences where we were dealing with, wounded and broken people for a long time, dealing with wounded and dealing with broken women and people who had situations where, they had either been beaten by a spouse, or they had been cheated on really bad, or they had been, molested, or women who had been raped, or things of that nature. So for me, it was all part and parcel of the same thing. It was like, putting it all together and talking to people who had been, who are of like mind or like wounds, if you would. Um, and so, yeah, so that part of why I went on, YouTube and shared that is because I did feel like, again, I didn't have many followers at that time. And I really didn't know if anybody was going to listen, but it really wasn't even so much about who's going to listen, so much as it was my observation of what was going on in the Black family, not telling like they should, not going to therapy like they should, not, taking themselves out of the equation and taking their children and putting their kids, to get some help. And that's what I felt. I felt like, take your kids, get them some help. Don't just allow your children to fester like this, because there are things that can happen if you don't take them and let somebody talk to them. Um, and I think that was one of the stigmas in the Black community for such a long time, is that we do not go to counseling. And we are by far, just like any other human, we need some counseling, especially our boys and women. But I'll just isolate the guys for a second, because the guys are going through these situations and they become perpetrators, and there are women as well.
Yeah.
But not only are they perpetrators, but then they're the ones going upside somebody's head, or they're drinking and robbing and killing, and they, are there's constantly having troubles and problems, and you don't understand, you don't know why. And it's because this child has been violated in some way, and the shame and the stigma that goes along with it is so off the chain that both women and men don't even want to talk about it. And so that's why, thank you for bringing that topic up, but that's why we talked about it. And that's why I did it, because I felt like, letter A, let me tell that this is what's going on in the Black family and the Black churches, and we need to all go to therapy, and we don't. And then the second half was, hey, almost 2 years later, here's the dog, the video, here he is, this is him.
I mean, absolutely incredible to see how that played out and everything. Your story, and I'm going to support you when we write this book, because there's so much. And I don't think this book that you wanted to write for such a time.
Oh, and I have started and can't finish it, because it's like, I'll get to maybe XYZ many chapters, and then I'll stop for about 8 months to a year, because it's just so heavy, and I'm reliving all of this stuff all over again.
Yeah. We'll work through that. We will work through that and get that. I just got to get my book to the editor in the next 3-4 weeks for the new book. But, you have such a powerful, transformative, story. And to see you and to know all of that pain you've gone through. And now here you are. You're back in a place where 20 something odd years ago, you hosted radio shows in America.
Yes.
This is not a new space.
Oh, no.
Where you've had podcasts some years back as well. But this is the first time where it just feels like you're just in your flow. You're in your flow. And I can't help but feel like there's this freedom from the past that is allowing you to just be this beautiful woman, Felicia Lockhart, that I know.
Well, I just tell you.
Would you say I'm on point?
Yeah, I'd say you're right on point. But you know what I love even more? It's like, even though, I may be in, doing a whole bunch of stuff during the week, the days that I know for sure, if the creek don't rise or the Most High don't come back today, I know that on a Saturday I'm going to be able to come here and interact with people like Melinda Ann and people like Kathy and Black Spring and Derek and David Harris and Steve Willis, and just all of these people that I have just grown in a window of time, to just love and admire, and to just accept them and they accept me. And it's like, I've got the friends that I didn't have when we were little, because if you remember when we were little kids, people would pick on us because of the fact that mom didn't allow us to speak any slang. We weren't allowed to do a lot of things, being a very conservative family, oddly enough, having gone through what we went through. we were not allowed to do a lot of stuff.
That's right.
We weren't allowed to, I couldn't even go to grad night. I went to my prom, but I couldn't even go to grad night because mom had this mindset, as much as she tried to protect us, didn't know that the beast was in the house.
Mm.
But, we just had all this stuff that we couldn't do. Um, and so, with that said, I always had to explain myself when they used to put me in a circle and push me when we were going to Hillcrest Elementary in California. Excuse me. Um, how they used to put me in the circle, make her talk, and shove me back and forth until to make me talk, make her say something. And I'm sitting there like, why are you guys trying to make me talk? Listen to how she talks. So I'm getting pushed by one girl, I'm getting pushed by another girl, and had to basically fight just because I could conjugate a verb. So so I did not get an opportunity to have a lot of friends. I was popular because I was in theater, because I sang. But I was a very withdrawn child. I grew to love books because of one teacher. One summer, saw that if I had more books, I could read better. She took 3 summers and sent me books every year for summer. And I'm not sure if you even knew that, but if mom, rest her soul, were here, she would tell you that. But there was a teacher that every year would send me books. Well, when I got to high school, a book was my friend. Ray Bradbury. I loved Ray Bradbury. I loved Edgar Allan Poe, anything dealing with the macabre. And I think it was because I had that gifting of being able to see stuff before it would happen, or, know things, or, I could tell you if somebody was going to die. That time where you were in the where were you?
Let's start with a couple of stories where I had an emergency surgery, and it was emergency. It was pre-mobile phone that people had access to. They were bricks, probably was out. But all of a sudden, I'd had the surgery, and all of a sudden, my phone, the phone rings, and the nurse says, "Oh, your sister is on the phone," and I literally just been out. I'm drugged on morphine or whatever, and I get on the phone, and you say, "I have known something in my gut was wrong. I have searched every hospital to find you." That was one
Mhm.
incident. There was another incident where I don't know if it was a dream or if it was a something, but you had saw me being pulled under the water.
I was in a dream when we were living in Germany. We were living in Germany at that time, and I had a dream, and when I had the dream, the next day I woke up, and I said to the kid's dad, I said, it felt so real. I said, it's a trip. I said, I've had a lot of dreams before. I said, but this one felt like I was literally there. And I
Yeah.
said, yeah, okay, okay. um, and then you and I spoke,
And
and then I found, mhm,
I
yeah,
had been I was doing a music video, my early trying to sing days, trying to be you, but got pulled got pulled under the water and got trapped by the we were on those water scooters or whatever, and got pulled under the water a few times.
I can tell you what I saw in my dream. In my dream, while I was asleep, it was like I was immediately, literally, like you could snap your finger, and I was immediately sitting on the beach, and I had a big hat on, and I had a book, and I was laying there on the beach on a towel, and as I'm reading my book, I hear you, and I hear you saying, Wani, calling me by my nickname. You're calling me Wani, Wani. And I glanced up and I waved and I kept reading. Then the next thing I know, I saw you on the back of a boat with this thing on your hands.
Mm, mm.
And as you're on the boat with this thing on your hands, I saw you doing that. And the next thing I saw you went under. And then I sat up and you came back up again. And so I sat back down and I kept reading. Well, that happened one more time. And on the second time when it happened, I remember sitting up way up off of my bottom. And I remember yelling out at the person that was driving the boat. And I said, all right, you let that happen to her one more time and I'm coming out there.
Yeah.
And the next thing I remember, I sat back, and the next thing I remember, you went under. But this time, when you went under, I was in the water and I could see bubbles coming up and I could see you fighting. And so I jumped in the dream. I'm in the water.
Mm.
And in the dream, in the water, I flip your hands around and you pop back up out of the water. And that was the end of the dream.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until you and I talked later that day in your time or my time. It was that day, but for me, it was different time frame because for me, it was night when I had the dream. So I guess for you, it must have been
In the daytime.
daytime.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And then when I finally talked to you, when I woke up, we talked.
Yeah.
And that is when when I told, yeah, yeah, you said to me, girl, I had this crazy situation. I forgot exactly how you worded it,
Mm.
but, all I remember was saying, oh my God, that's
Yeah.
my dream. And then I called their dad and I was like, hey, listen, listen, we
Yeah.
didn't have cell phones, you guys. This is a house phone.
Right.
And I'm calling, knowing good and well that it's going to cost a whole bunch of money because we're in the UK. I mean, we're in Germany at the time. She's not in Germany. Where would you?
I
Where
was in
were you?
California. I think it was in Lake Tahoe. It was in Lake Tahoe, and we went up to film this little video. And my version of what had happened was, like I said, I'd been pulled under, and it was repetitively pulled under, and it felt like a final kind of jerking, getting me up, like something pulled me, got me up, and I like to believe it was God using your hand got me up, you know, and that's how this is how Felicia, when we're talking about a seer, that ability to see, that gift, I don't, it's deep, it's so deep, it's so
It's
deep.
because it's spooky. And I tell you, as a kid, it was the weirdest thing. But I did not know until I had gotten deep in the word that there were gifts that God had given us to be used in the kingdom. And it
Mm-hmm.
was not to be used like a lot of these people do all of this spooky ooky stuff. And when I
Mm-hmm.
say spooky ooky, I mean they take the gifts of God and they do wrong things with them. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? They'll take the gifts of God and they'll try to make money off of it. Or and then
Right.
they become and then their gifts become of no effect. Not only that, now you're a charlatan. So what I do is I believe that as I've gotten older, he has just shown me that the purpose of those gifts is to seek and to save that which is lost and to pray with them and to pray for them, not try to tell them what's going to happen unless he tells me to tell them. I don't
Mm-hmm.
tell nobody nothing. Now, see, when
Right.
I was young with it and I didn't understand, oh, I'd be like, oh, yeah, this is going to happen to you next week, and that's going to happen, and that's going to happen. Well, because it was more like a little, like a little parlor trick then, because you're out in the world, you're boogieing, you're going to clubs and stuff, but you don't realize how
Right.
important your gifting is. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And so it's like as you get older, you begin to understand, especially when you get yourself into the word, and now you're understanding your purpose. You see, so it's one thing to have the gifting and to know that it is only for the Most High's use. You see that then, I mean, it was like off the chain where
Mm-hmm.
stuff was. I was just picking. I mean, at one particular juncture, before I really learned how to be quiet and be still and know what he was telling me to do, girl, it was like all the time.
Right.
Then, um,
Open.
yeah, and so, but now when he shows me something, I make sure that I use it and I share it with the body because it's for the body. If he gives me something for a specific person, then I will be obedient and move when he tells me to move. And I think that's the difference between people who come here with those gifts, because the gifts of God are given without repentance, right? You don't just take the gifting that God gives you and go and run around and do all kinds of stuff. Listen, it's not just me. There are people in the chat right now who can tell you, oh, I was driving down the street and something told me. Yeah, that's the Holy Spirit. Ruach
Right.
HaKodesh, he'll tell you. Okay. But some of us, our pineal glands wasn't all clogged up when we was little kids. I'll
Right.
just say that. You know what I mean? I don't
No.
know. I don't know. But I do know that even though I've had those experiences in my life, and even though those things have happened, I am still just a vessel for him. Ain't nobody special. There's people like me all over this planet. I ain't better than nobody. All I know is I believe that I am more compassionate to people because I've experienced things. I believe that
Yeah.
I love people that other people say, don't talk to her, girl. She's this, or she's a this, or she's a that, or she sleeps with all kinds of people, or she does this and that. But see, I'm moved by the love for those people. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like, I don't believe in throwing folks away because I believe that we have all been there at one point or another. Every single one of us have been that person that somebody want to throw away. And what good
Right.
am I? Because I was treated bad. I was thrown away. I had to fight coming home. We used to have to fight running home, and I didn't even know you was with me when we were running.
Yeah.
So
Right.
so my point is that we have all experienced something. But if we go through those things and we don't learn how to be compassionate and how to love and how to care for somebody else after all the stuff that we've been through, who are we? Who do
Thank you.
we think we are? Who do we
I
think
wanna
we are?
exactly. I wanna shift this for a minute
Mhm,
because this is everything. Here's this woman of God, and then we have this political side
mhm,
of the Lockhart perspective, this commentary, and I've seen a little bit of shifts on the channel.
mhm, mhm,
Tell me about the
mhm,
how what is this about? It started. There was a lot of commentary, and then there's faith.
mhm.
So can we talk about that? Can you talk to me about the political side? I guess my question is: Are we now looking at being able to see, or because you probably always say, I'm gonna just use the term, revelations in the Bible, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Are we seeing part of the Lockhart perspective also discussing end times,
Eh,
commentary, and end times, news, and end time prophecy?
Yeah, but you know what? I think because I have seen so much stuff happen where people have polluted and tarnished prophecy. I This is possibly the first time that I've really shared it like this
Mm,
on this, only because you're bringing it up and I'm being interviewed. Um, and we're talking about it. We're open to talk. But I think that the reason why I really haven't is because a lot of people have definitely used, you know, their gifts and the things that God gives them in the wrong way. And it's always been to manipulate and to take advantage of people. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And to me, it's like, don't do that, because just like he gave you that gift, he gave somebody else another gift. And even though we know that the gifts of God are given without repentance, you can definitely frustrate grace and get your rump caught up in some stuff. So,
Right.
as it relates to end times, there are times where I will say, this is me, like Paul did. He said, hey, I, Paul, not the Most High, not God, but I will say, yeah, now this is what I think. I could be wrong, I'll say, but this is what I think. And as far as the end time eschatology piece, I lean more 110% of the way on the book of Daniel, on the book of Ezekiel, on the book of Revelation, on the book of Enoch, on the book of, Matthew, Matthew 24, Matthew 25, all of the great books of both the major and the minor prophets, as well as parts of the gospel, to look at what's going on in the world now and piece it together with the end times as well. The Most High has brought people to the channel who are exceptional with regards to study in
Mm-hmm.
end time eschatology. I mean, we got Lee Red Nation, who was our blood brother, who was our baby brother,
Yeah.
off the chain. And then we've also got Ronnie, who is another one who is off the chain. And, personally, I would prefer as a woman to defer to them because I know that they are learned men and that they study. And that's why oftentimes I would like to have them on the show. Hey, there's Ronnie there. Hey. There he is. And so that's the reason why I defer to them when they're here, or Ronnie when he's here, because I believe, and this is just me, and other ladies, you might be mad at me for that, but I suggest you go pray about it. I believe that if there is a gentleman that is around you who is like we are in this setting, and they get something imparted in them from the Most High, that it's so important for us to just sit back and allow the Most High to speak through that man and let him tell you what God showed him. Because oftentimes what he may see is something totally different. See, that's the weird thing about looking at, let me just use this. From my perspective, it looks like X, Y, or Z. But see, you can see the labeling from that side. It's still the same too. You know what I'm saying? But now I don't see anything on this side, but you see it on that side. And that's how I feel like we all work together. We're all
in the end times.
Yes. Oh, yes. We've been in the end times. Go ahead. Right. Go ahead.
I phoned you, I think at the height of the situation, the situation.
The candy bar.
Right? And I was in my bed and I was under my covers. You didn't know that. I might have whispered. And I said, what's going on? What's really happening? What makes you say that we are in the end times?
Oh, just there are a plethora of things that the word tells us to look out for, and you don't even have to, you don't even have to use your prophetic gifting for that. You don't have to use your prophetic gifting to realize that we're in it. You just know based on the word, based on what the word of God has told us, based on the things that we're dealing with and experiencing, we can see it all over. I mean, if you are in tune with the word, you can see it. And then I think, again, I mean, that's the only thing that's the only reason why I say that, because there are so many different things that are subtly happening and that we're taking for granted. We're thinking that this is not the end times because, well, it's just a candy bar.
Right.
Okay. It's just this or it's just that. No, it's not. If you look at what goes along with that, then you know that this is that. But we've been headed in the end times for years. I mean, again, things were happening so slow, so subtle. We weren't seeing it. But see, I remember our mother, you guys, passed away in 1983. And I remember before our birth mom passed away at 35 in 1983 of breast cancer, right? I remember certain things happening at a certain time, and me talking to our mom about different things that were happening. And I was telling her things about, what the mom, I believe the test tube babies are made that way because they're going to start trying to make people like this and this and that. And I was a little girl, right? And she and I would have dialogue, and I remember some of those conversations. And so I will say this, that they used to have those conversations, our mom and our dad, stepdad. They used to have those conversations. They used to have adults come in the house and would all sit around and chit chat and talk. And we would be nosy in the hallway listening to what they were talking. Good thing we did, because he is now in another state and has been remarried for years after our mom's death, for several years. And our mom has gone on. Imagine had we not sat there and listened. Imagine had we not had the learning and the teaching that we had. We wouldn't know any of these things. I think I know a lot more because I was so nosy.
Yeah, you were.
I was nosy. Our mom used to say that I was nosy and that I would stay up at night. Well, I think that she didn't understand the reason why I stayed up at night was because I was afraid that somebody's going to come in the room, and I was watching over them. Okay. I was watching over them. And so that's why I would stay up, and I would always have bags under my shoes. So, you know what? All you do is you just stay up. You're like a little night owl or whatever. Um, but
Protecting,
yeah, but yeah, yeah,
protecting
yeah.
y'all.
Hey, let's
You know.
let's get to some of these here. Listen here, we got some new folks in the chat. My brothers and sisters, we said, "Hey, Mr. Roddy Man." Oh, and then also I saw Peaches. One Peaches. I thought I saw Peaches in here. Hey, Peaches, I know you were here. R. Jones, how are you? Love
Right.
in the midst of Felicia awake as a little girl. I'm not surprised.
There you go. There you go. Y'all have
Okay.
been blessed. This just scratched the surface. I was there. I was there.
Okay, let's
Beautiful.
see. Doug Cooper, he's making some good comments there. Let's see. I think there's one Peaches 41. I don't know if she's still here, but hey, sis, she and I met her when what's so sweet is that you can see all these nice, wonderful people, and like I said, because of people picking on me because I like to read, and because they oh she thinks she's talking white. Funny thing is like I said, now I speak with more colloquialisms than I ever did because I feel like, hey, I can get away with it. Um,
Right.
but the deal is that you get to see all these great people.
Mm,
And one Peaches 41, when you were talking about, me trying to get the hours up one night, I was just sitting up and I had the thing on and I was trying to just play some music in the background. I didn't have StreamYard then, but I sure was trying to make it. I just stuck my finger over the camera like that and I put something else up there and then I put a picture or something. But do you know that one Peaches 41 and I sat there talking, chatting back and forth, and we had a good time about all kinds of things that we found in common. And it was the most beautiful of times because it was just two chicks sitting up here talking, but it really went by what we were just talking about all kinds of things. And it was just great. So I'm just saying that to say a lot of times people don't even notice that or don't even know that when you come to do your channel, sometimes you're lonely. Sometimes you don't have nobody to talk to. But see,
yeah.
God will use the foolish things of this world to just
Mm,
come right in and just help you out. There have been times where I'm like, Lord, I just don't know what to do. Loneliness is a beast. Being by yourself sometimes can be terrible. But
yeah.
he just has a way of showing you his love. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I
That
and
one person right
ever
there.
since and ever since we were little kids, the one thing that I knew was I loved God. You
Yeah.
remember we were staying with that babysitter, Nano and Mother
Bert,
White. Bertha. Was it
Bertha,
Bertha? No, it wasn't
Bert.
Bertha. It was Mother
No,
White and
Bertha was a
Nano.
friend.
Bertha was the
Yeah.
mama's friend, and Mother White and Nano. Mother
Yes.
White was a woman who went to church. Nano, Miss Thelma.
Miss
They
Tam.
they called Mother White at the church, but at the house she was Nano.
Oh, right. Oh, so confusing. Right.
And
We
the
was little.
daughter and her daughter, who was
Carrie
actually
Ann.
supposed to, yeah, Carrie Ann's mother.
Wasn't she?
Carrie, she was a pretty dark skinned girl. Oh
She
my
adopted
gosh.
though.
She was adopted, yes. Beautiful, dark, caramel colored skin. But her mother was Mother no, her mother was Miss Thelma. Miss Thelma was the one that babysat us. She and her mother were night and day. Her mother went, her Mrs. Mother White went to church all the time, and she would take me to church with her. And I know
Yes.
we went with her all together at
Yes.
one time, but she every time mom would come to get us, I'm like, can I go to church with her? That was the safest place on the planet to me, which is the reason why when I actually ended up going on my own journey, leaving the church, I knew that I wasn't leaving him. I was leaving this mess and quest to find out what was real based on what they had taught me and why I felt so indebted to him, knowing I loved him. I said, no, wait a minute. There's something special between you and I.
Mm,
But these people, some may write with all of these people.
right.
So my
Let me
point is
ask.
that
Mhm.
Mother White is the reason why I like to go to church so much. And I found safety there because while I was at the church as a kid, nothing happened to me. Go ahead.
Right. You know, I'm gonna just be here transparent at this moment for myself. Whereas you leaned into God. I'd have these periods of leaning into God, and then the letdown completely stepping away.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
and I'm on this journey, and I don't look at this opportunity to interview you as just, oh, I'm interviewing my sister, you know, like I feel, I
People don't
guess,
even know that this is what you do for a living. And when I thought about you being the person that was interviewing me, I thought to myself, OMG, this is going to be off the chain, because this is what she does. And because this is what she does, I don't think she's going to be easier on me than she is on other people. And I'm glad that we are having this opportunity, because again, I've always said that I think it's important to know those that labor among you. It's important for people to know who you are, know who I am, know what I believe in, know where I've been, know what I've been through, and all that. So I was sort of scared when I thought about it was you were going to interview me. But I'm very happy because again, you do know me, and you ain't gonna let me sit up here and not tell the whole story. Therefore, we didn't do any scripting. It will let you
that's
just
right.
talk and ask me what you want. All I said is nothing's off the table.
That's
There are no
right.
topics that are off the table. So go
Well,
right
I want
ahead.
to say to you, is that because of you and because you have accepted me on my journey of coming to lean back, leaning to him, the Father, that's the reason
Hmm.
I'm coming back this direction, you see. And
Hmm.
even this session right now, it means the world to me because I'm seeing some of this stuff. I'm seeing the world. That's why I called you. I was like, what's really going on? Because if anybody gonna know, it's my big sister. And it ain't like we that much older. She that much older. She 2.5 years and one day older, but she my big sister. She is like seriously elevated up big sister. And I just want to thank you for just loving on me and just man having my back and just and correcting people like, hey, wait a minute, that's my sister, that's her
Hmm.
journey. You don't
Hmm.
know her journey,
Hmm.
you know and I appreciate that, and I'll just keep on leaning in. I'm gonna have to get out of here, girl. It's almost
Yeah, I
four
was
and
going.
I have to
I'm
get
about to let you go now. I'll stay here with them in the chat, but I
out.
just want to tell you that I am very proud of you, of all the books that you've written from the time that your daughter was little, when you taught her the importance of publishing a book, where she
Yeah,
did all of the
I
artwork and
did. Yeah,
everything, and how just the books that you've written, just the work that you've done, just all of the things. And the trip is that you're my sister. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I mean, people don't even know. It's like, no,
You're
that's
my
no,
sister.
that the coach, that the one that's there in the UK, the one that does all that stuff, she's actually my sister. Um,
You're my
there was,
sister.
and it was so funny because somebody had brought you to me on Instagram, and he was like, "Look at this," and I'm like, "She's my sister." Are you kidding? I'm like, "No, that's not just my sister. No, that's my sister." And it was like, "Oh my god!" And so anyway, with that said, I'm just happy that you are here. I praise the Most High for you. I
Thank
pray for you. And you know what? Here's the deal.
you. I'm in
People
church.
don't
I got to
understand
say it.
it. Okay, you in the church, you got the fangirl. But the deal is that yeah, somebody did try to come against my relationship with my sister. Hey, I'm live. Um, they did. They tried to come against my relationship with my sister, and I'm like, you know what? I tell you what, you can go over there and hang out with the folks who's too good. But for me, I'm not gonna be like that. I'm not gonna do that. So if you're something you want to say right before you go ahead, baby girl.
you know, it's just, y'all just keep put me in your prayers. You know what I mean? I'm on my journey. My journey is my journey. When I see you guys, I be coming on my sister's channel. Look at me sounding all LA now. I be coming to my sister's channel, and I see Ronnie and I see Doug and I see all of these people here that's in the chat right now. And I'm just so thankful. You've shown me what out here, like a lot of people refer to as your tribe, who's your tribe. And it's like, this is what it is. And so, keep me in prayer, keep my sister in prayer. She's doing stuff, and God's obviously got to work. He's you bringing her up, and it's just so beautiful to see. And like, I can't even y'all, like when you grow up with a sister like this, like even the reason I did music, I can't even come close to singing like my sister. But I pushed it because I had trained up under you in a way, right? And you've always been on my mind, you know. You got that Louis Vuitton scarf coming in a couple weeks, so I've already got something in the post coming for you, sis. That's how proud of her I am. Not the Louis Vuitton, that's the thing. But I'm just saying, like my heart.
I'm
What you
like,
think?
okay, that's nice. And I'm like, it's okay. It could be just a regular scarf. I'm happy with any. You know what? I'm happy with anything you give me, and I praise the
But
Most High
it,
for you.
yes,
I
yes.
praise, I praise Him for you.
But
Thank you, baby
I
girl.
love the channel. Let's keep supporting the channel. Let's keep supporting diverse thinking, diverse thinking. I love that you're saying, hey, there's some men out here that we also want to lift up. There's not enough brothers being lifted up that are doing the right, wholesome, healthy, right thing. You know what I mean? So to see that you do that, and I love how you support other people on the channel. You're such an inspiration. I appreciate you so much. I'm gonna get off this phone, get off this call right now. I gotta send you the recording that we did,
Yes, yes.
interview and everything like that. Thank you guys so much for being here. Somebody, Kathy's talking about something. Yeah, God bless you. God bless you.
I
Anyways,
love
and
you,
Namaste,
Princess.
said Ronnie. Love the theme. Thank you so much for doing that for my sister. I just love it. You got so much love, girl. Just keep it going. I'm just so proud. I'm gonna stop now because that's how.
All
And girl,
right.
that's how I do my talks at these corporate companies. I have them in the chat, 300 people, and I'll be like, and so and so, and Ronnie's in the house and that girl. I'll be like,
It
just
just
full of love,
flows on.
full
Pull
of
up.
love, full of love,
Full of
full of
love.
love,
Full of. Well,
full
I
of love.
love you, honey, and we'll talk really soon. Thank you,
Okay.
thank you, thank you for this. Okay, night night. Well, you guys, that is my sister. And I am so happy that she was the person that got the opportunity to interview me. And again, I think that there's so many layers to my life and there's so many layers to the things that I've experienced. And I wanted to make sure that it was somebody who knew me that could talk to you to share with you guys, and ask questions from her perspective or from her point of view to me. There's only a few other people that would have been Hope Blood. You guys met her, or she was on the channel with me one day, as well as Tanya Banks, one of my best friends from when we were young girls, and maybe one other friend, Cindy. Those about the only people. But I was so glad that she was available to do it because, again, this is what she does. And so I just want to tell all of you guys thank you. This chat has been very good. I love every one of you guys. Thank you guys so much. This week, starting tomorrow, we are not taking a turn in a different direction, but because now that the channel has got more eyes on it now because it's been monetized, um, we're going to still have our Saturday Night Live. We're still going to talk. We're still going to say whatever the Most High tells us to say. We're very bold, right? We ain't backing up with nobody. But what we are going to do is we're going to start being a little bit more mindful of the stuff that's not being said. And for example, the Second Amendment, there's some stuff going on right now for the Second Amendment that I don't think a lot of us know about because we're all focused on this other stuff. So there's some things going on with that. There's a lot of stuff. So we're going to start doing things, even though it's still a topic, it's going to be the underlying topic so that we see exactly how it all plays together. How about that? Is that good? All right, you guys, I love all of you. Thank you so very much for supporting us this evening. I appreciate you guys. And we will be back soon. So tomorrow, I don't know, may have to talk to Ronnie Mann. I think there's a couple of things that we may want to talk about if he's available. Maybe we'll come back. I don't know. We'll see. I love you guys. Y'all take care and be blessed. And remember, folks, the most important thing is this one thing, and that is that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the Most High's mouth. Love you guys. Night night.